Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Hey everybody, back out here on Friday, the last day of February, and we're getting ready to start the last month of the first quarter of 2026. And a lot of big things coming up too for that month of March, so a lot to look forward to. For today, a couple of things I just want to talk about of interest that has to do with Giga-Texas. First of all, you may have heard that Tesla introduced the standard all-wheel drive Cybertruck about 8 days ago, and the price was $59,990, and a lot of people were curious what the reception would be. Well, I can definitely say that based on the number of reservations, the amount of discussion about that on social media, the fact that the 1st of March the price will be changing, probably going up, and the referral codes no longer being able to be used for the all-wheel drive Cybertruck, I would say that the demand is far in excess of even the highest target that Tesla may have had, and it may be surprising them. So I think that's really great. You still have about a day and a half to place an order if you would like to do that before the price comes up. And as a few other people have pointed out, Tesla will honor full self-driving transfers if you purchase a vehicle up to the 31st of March. And that includes the Cybertruck standard all-wheel drive, even if the deliveries are going to be in 2027. So maybe something to think about. Now, another thing here at Giga-Texas of interest today is that Cybercabs were being crash tested and also being driven on public roads around the factory. Now, I saw another thing at the north end of the paint shop that was also of interest. So this is a thermoplastic injection molding to make the body panels. In fact, in this case, all of the exterior body panels of the Cybercab. And this view here with this short video clip gives you a great view of that. As I mentioned, they were driving on public streets coming back into Giga-Texas and going all the way over to that exit point for the production line and going inside. And of course, up at the crash testing facility, 6 more of the new Cybercabs have been moved over there in preparation for that crash testing, which is a really great sign as we are getting ready to have the last month before production is slated to officially begin. Now, I did get interviewed by Herbert Ong on his Brighter with Herbert channel a couple of days ago, and I think that if you watch that video, the link is at the bottom of the description, or at the bottom of the screen and in the video description. You'll get a lot of information about my tour of the factory of the Cybercabs and maybe some new information that you have not heard. So take a look at that video, and I really appreciate Herbert for having me on to discuss with everybody. So that's about it for the intro. So why don't we get into the drone? Let's fly around and see what Giga-Texas looks like all over the site. And I've got a lot of things to talk about in the video that is new as well. So thanks for your support. Let's go flying.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, good morning from Giga-Texas on this Friday. Looking back at the main factory down to the west support facility. All of this is just to the north of Tesla Road, which is in the center of the screen. On the right-hand side of the screen is Lone Star Asphalt and Concrete. Also at the bottom of the screen is that new gas terminal that we saw being constructed over a year ago. And that's to help with the energy production around the area. And here is the new rental equipment lot with much of the equipment and some of the trailers that have been brought in from that northeast side field, that Lone Tree field, and more of the transport vehicles waiting here. Hopefully they'll start getting more busy transporting new cars, maybe Cybertrucks off-site with the increase of production that we're expecting. As we pass over all of the steel that's being stored here and the Evapco fan and base units, we can see where some of the supporting items, some of the pipes, steel, and also some of the now very faded wooden crates are located. As we pass over this workshop and the central roadway, good view of this staging yard with the two large tents. Now, it used to have a lot more equipment here. It's slowly being cleaned out. They do have a lot of containers that probably have items inside, but otherwise, I'm not really sure if we know if the trailers or the tents here are being used much at all anymore. On the other side of the tree line, we can see the racks for the castings, also for bodies at the bottom left, that kind of those black racks, and more equipment, more items being stored here, including some steel. And it looks like they're going to be using more of this field, at least in the interim, before they start doing construction of the Welcome Center. At the end-of-line facility and the direct delivery center, it is not a production day today, so we're not seeing a lot of vehicles arriving in these sorting lots on the left. And really not a lot of activity here on this side. Earlier, I did see a Cybercab driving on these lanes, but by the time I got the drone here, it had already departed. We did see a lot more of the Cybercab driving around the rest of the site today, and I put out a dedicated video for that on X if you want to see that. But on the west side of the end of line, you can tell that the cars are being prepared to go through that wash rack and probably for that direct delivery. As we cross over the outbound lot to this location, we can see what I believe is another robo-taxi getting prepared for maybe heading out to the fleet. They often use this particular location for some of that fine-tuning and testing before they send them out to join the robotaxi service, so maybe that's what we're seeing here. Now, this new staging yard is getting a lot more materials. The steel corrugated pipes have been brought in, more of the concrete vaults, and on the right-hand side, we can tell that they're doing more preparation work to extend the roadway through this section all the way down to the top of the screen where we see that clearing. As I bring the drone back here momentarily, you can tell that this kind of the new and now the old material staging yards are kind of growing together. This one does, of course, have most of the materials around the site. So a lot of the containers, the spools of cabling, and the ever-present large number of transformers, which we continue to watch to see what's going to happen. On the left-hand side of the screen, I noticed that there were some deliveries being made, particularly these crates on the truck, and these will be seen at the main site a little later in the video. As we pass along this part of the staging yard, you can see these cabinets and other equipment that is meant for the 4680 cell production part of the factory. More items on the ground, and this rounded top workshop is where they're building more of the superchargers. The bottom of the screen, we see light poles. I think that they were really originally meant for the clearing off to the left, which we will see momentarily, but I'm understanding that some of the plans have now changed, so we'll have to keep monitoring what happens there. We do notice that this clearing is seeing a lot more activity. It actually looks like they are preparing a graded section of it, and you're using some of the dirt to fill in part of the pond in the top center of the screen. And I'm curious to see if this is just being used for more dirt for the rest of the site and for construction, or if this is really being prepared for a complete new construction site. We do see the water tank that has been brought in the middle of the screen. That is normally part of the setup for some extended work and construction. You do see more of the excavation work along this berm near where the ponds are. So Yeah, it's worth this just watching to see what they end up doing here. Of course, the gravel that has been on the ground that was part of that contractor parking lot is also being removed. And this is that large section that I told you that the light poles were originally meant for. You can see the risers coming up along this section. There is a new fence that has been added in, and it's segregating out this staging yard, which is being slowly torn down. The materials are being moved away. Those steel corrugated pipes and concrete sections that we saw on that new staging yard just to the north of where the transformers are have all been moved away from here. So I'm going to expect to see a lot more of this material moved away. And the fact that there's that new fence that's going to be coming into view on the left-hand side of the screen, kind of breaking this triangular staging yard into half, is also very interesting. Now, I have been told that to expect that a new test track will be coming to this general location, and that's going to require a lot of rework of what has been done, so it's definitely something I will keep watching. I thought I would point the drone to the south, look over the Colorado River, show you all the apartments that are being built up, some of the infrastructure, some of the businesses that are being installed as well, plus some industrial buildings at the top left of the screen. And then down in the middle of the screen is more work, a lot more excavation for some of the water management system. And this is related to recent work that was done with caissons and a water intercept system that connected all around Giga-Texas. And part of it came across underneath the Colorado River to that small field with the white truck near the bridge on the center right. It's a good view of some of this water manifold system, the concrete, and preparation for Falwell Lane, the roadway, to be extended all the way over to all of those apartments. So a lot of more infrastructure and residential options are being added very close to Giga-Texas. While we're here, I'll look over the highway and show you what's going on in the berm. Most of the caisson, the vaults, and piping are now buried underneath this berm all the way along the side of the building. And for the most part, that work seems to be completed and is in final stages of being wrapped up. As we look back here on the west side, I'll bring the drone down near the Cyber Tunnel on the right. And with all of the orders for Cybertrucks, I'm expecting to see a lot of Cybertrucks coming out of that in the near future. And for today, we see a Cybercab driving by. I kind of missed that here, but like I said, there was a lot more of that going on. I just didn't get a chance to get the drone shot good enough to really follow it of any meaningful way. So I thought I'd come back and show you all of the vehicles that are being stored here, preparation for transport. A lot of them are Model Ys of various different trim levels. Of course, we see activity at the superchargers, and also we're starting to see some more Cybertrucks accumulating here, especially on the west side of the end of line, as you can tell as they're lining up. So a really great view of what is going on. Even though this is not a production day, it is a day to prepare for vehicles to be picked up, transported off-site, and much of that is happening right now. So I'm going to fly along this side of the highway, kind of pan around to show you all of the west side of the main factory, and we'll resume here with the narration very soon. There's some very interesting developments here on the north side of the main factory, and that's why I'm going to fly the drone around like I am here, bring it in closer, and I'll show you some of that a little bit more detail. First, we see red and white truck bringing in some items, and of course the yellow truck is bringing more of those aluminum alloy wheels that are recycling our scrap, and they will be melted down to make more castings. This is the interesting location, past all of the paint racks for the Model Y bumpers. I'll zoom in. We can tell that these are forms that are used, I believe, as part of the thermoplastic injection molding process, or certainly the process of setting up the body panels for the Cybercab. Now, some of these may be tests, or maybe it's some other purpose, But as you can tell here, every single one of the exterior body parts for the Cybercab are represented here. Earlier on, we saw a few of these parts, but this is the first time I've seen them all in close up like this outside of the paint shop in quite some time. Now, the reason why they're here, I think they were just delivered. They're being stored temporarily. You can tell these wooden crates at the bottom of the screen. I think that they were shipped in from that and then assembled here for movement into the factory. This is not really close to where the Cybercab production line is, but I think it's just where the deliveries are made. We also tell next to the 4680 ramps, the platforms, we can see those two tanks still waiting to be installed, and hopefully we'll see those moving inside very soon. As I wrap around the corner, head down to the south, I thought I would stop and take a look at the cell recycling for the 4680s. Usually they're in that blue bin. Most of the bins are actually pretty empty. There's just some deliveries that are being made here today, so not much really to glean from what is going on from what we saw there. One of the other things I wanted to show, because I know some people are interested in this wastewater system that they've been installing. You can tell that the metal plate has been moved where those yellow fences are. There is a manhole cover, and the other one's up on the berm. This does suggest that the connections have finally been made. I know some of my viewers were thinking that that had not been completed. It looks like that is now, at least from what I can tell, complete. No production today, so no vehicles exiting the factory here, but I am going to fly over the entrance and just stop here briefly, show you the new chargers that have been added in. You can see a couple of cars are using them right now. So I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude, looking back to the west with the beautiful flags, the end of line, the outbound lot. And I wanted to stop here briefly on the roof just to talk about this new structure that you can see coming into the center of the screen, these pipes with some of the scaffolding around it. Now, there's a permit that I've talked about before, but this is for the regenerative thermal oxidizer system. This is built in or above the high bay, which is a section inside of the factory. And this is part of the painting process that is involved with the Cybercab. And this regenerative thermal oxidizer system helps remove the volatile organic compounds that is associated with that painting process. And that painting is for the underbody, the structure of the vehicle, the steel parts, not the castings or the body panels. This is a quick look straight down at more materials being stored here on this side of the site, including some crates. And those have been stored here to clear off some room next to the building. More of the trench work and installation of the purple pipe at the south end, where River Road and Cyber Circle come together next to the cooling plant for Cortex 1. And then, of course, a nice view here across the east side of the factory. Part of that on the upper left of the factory is the stamping section, and then coming into view next to those two large silos is the door where the Cybercab production line is. And in fact, all of this part of the building that you see on all the floors is pretty much the Cybercab production. And then that comes to an end right about here where the secondary entrance is. You can see some more of the construction that is being done near the glass with that temporary wall and the plastic. Pan the drone down here next to the road. This is where they are filling in all of the trenches. Electrical conduit was added in, connecting into existing conduit, wrapping around the south side of the parking lot here, all the way over to the wind tunnel, which is coming into view right now, and also providing some power for all of these trailers and new workshops. And this is part of the moving of equipment, workshops, and other items around the site to prepare for a lot bigger construction that is gearing up for the rest of the year. You can also see some of the work along Robotic Avenue on either side for drainage. See the drainage pipes coming into this kind of collection ditch. And then we'll see some manifolds all coming over into this excavated area and where they are extending a river road. And I've got some new permits that kind of talk about what is going on here. The first thing that's obvious is that they are extending River Road through this section. You can tell where that's being added in with the darker earth being brought in, but also you can tell with the with this image here how River Road is going to snake through the whole area. Now it talks about that the roadway is 1.83 miles, 4-lane divided road, and there's going to be a wet drainage pond. And I think that's what we're seeing being excavated in the lighter color dirt. This shows you what the new River Road will be like as it extends all the way through this part of the site. And of course, not only will it go through this area as I indicated, but it's going to go well up into the lone tree field that you can see at just the top of the screen from this perspective. And part of that earthwork is clearing out part of the east side and also doing some grade work, which you can see at the center of the screen. More dirt is being brought in now to help prepare all of this for that River Road extension through this location. Of course, we also know that this very large hill with all of the concrete debris needs to be relocated, and that building that used to be a part of the concrete truck maintenance facility all has to go because the road is going to go right through this section. Nice view back to the main factory. Also looking back to the left of all of the locations where that roadway is going to come through. And hopefully with that diagram and the discussion about what to expect with what River Road will look like and the path, this gives you a really good idea of why so much is having to be relocated through this part of the site. Now through this field that you can see some of the earthwork being done, this is also to prepare for that River Road extension, and there's some additional earthwork being done near the crash test facility. I kind of pulled away here momentarily just to show you the complex from the Cortex 2 on the left, the die shop, and the battery cathode plant, the long skinny building. We're going to come in a little bit closer now to the anthropomorphic test device or crash test dummy lab that's being constructed. Most of the wall panels have now been installed. We can see that there's 2 windows and a large receiving door facing the battery cathode plant, and they are installing insulation onto the roof, and then they'll be putting on the roof decking to complete this structure. And that's a really great view of what is happening here and the speed that this building is coming together. As we pass along the east side of the crash test facility, did notice that there are 6 of the new Cybercabs arranged here for crash testing. 5 are in the center of the screen. 1's by the fence at the bottom of the screen, which you'll see here momentarily. I'll try to zoom in to show you that there are no steering wheels. And as we discussed on my interview with Herbert Ong, these wheels are actually the final wheels. The rears are alloy, the fronts are steels. They are different diameters, and they would be covered by plastic caps. And those wheel covers will be the same color as the vehicle. But if you were to take the wheel covers off, that is what you're going to see. And it's just an interesting decision that Tesla made to have different kinds of wheels. We don't normally see that with vehicles. Usually they're all at least the same type of material and the same design. As I kind of maneuver around here, we'll look back up to the north. There's a lot of activity that I want to show you. So we're going to proceed along much of the earthwork that is underway, just so you can get a good sense of what is being planned and how it's coming together. First, next to this pond, you can see more dirt's being brought in the upper left to fill in that depression. They are clearing out a lot of the trees, knocking down some of the hills, and preparing all of this section for that roadway. This inset shows you again what the road will look like. We're at the top kind of right side of that image, coming through the tree line, and then it will make a turn and head up into a Lone Tree Field, which is at the top of the screen. It will continue up for an intersection with the new Harold Green Road, which is a part of the City of Austin construction project. And then that road will connect through part of the large field that you see at the top of the screen all the way over to State Highway 130, where all the vehicles are driving. So this is going to add access all around the east and south part of Giga-Texas, and then up to the north, connecting into that Harold Green Road. A lot of the debris in the bottom left is going to have to be cleared out at some point, similar to what we see on the top right of the screen with all the mounds of dirt where they've been doing that separation. We're flying over the Lone Tree itself, and it's being protected by a fence. And of course, this is the remnants of that old rental equipment lot and some of the workshops. And I showed you at the beginning of the video where much of the equipment's been located. And I'll show you here momentarily where some of the offices and operations are being relocated. This section is the continuation of the Lippmann concrete crushing service. And you can see that they are making a lot of headway, a large mound of all of the broken up concrete, plus a lot of rebar stacked up at the bottom of the screen. And this gives you a good sense of that operation. I also noticed on my previous video, I wanted to come back and get a better look at it, is in this section now, some of the hills are being knocked down. And you can tell with the earthwork kind of going linearly. And this is all in preparation of extending out the site to allow for that construction. And of course, we talked about the permit. This is a part of the North Campus section, and we're going to expect to see a lot of major construction here. And similar to the main factory when it began, the land that you see here with those hills and valleys, the trees, the vegetation, the water, all of this was underneath parts of the main factory, and it all had to be reclaimed. Much of that brought in dirt from off-site. Then they used geotextile membranes, geopiers, and in some case, continuous flight auger piers to set up the ground and prepare for major construction. So I'm expecting to see all that at some point. In the meantime, they are doing this clearing of a lot of the debris that was mixed into the dirt through this section. The mounds of dirt that we see are the ones that have been cleaned out and the wood debris removed. And they're still working on some of that at the south end of the field. In addition to that, we also see that they are excavating down into the ground. It's like they are trying to prepare the whole grade, and this is likely part of the process to get this all graded out, flattened out, prepared for the major construction. But here's a really great view of this. It does kind of suggest that there's a lot of wood debris still mixed into the dirt, which is what they are working through. So I'm going to bring the drone up a little higher. We're going to fly it to the west along the trees, the valleys, the hills. You can see the access road on the left, and it's bringing us over to this part of the site, which is having some new growth going in. First of all, we see this gravel on top of geotextile membrane and the clearing at the bottom of the screen, more of the equipment along this roadway. And here is where some of those offices and maintenance facilities of that old rental equipment lot and Lone Tree Field have been moved, and some of the equipment is being moved here as well. This is the concrete batch plant that started off as a mobile one early in Giga-Texas construction history and has now become the permanent operational one, and it supplies a lot of concrete for Giga-Texas and for the region around this location. We're going to get closer to the expansion of the electrical switch yard. And what you can tell here is most of the footings and the slabs have been poured, are cured, and are ready for steel erection on all of these. Some of the steel pipes and parts are on the ground. And then here at the slab for the third transformer, we can get a good sense of the work that is going on. The second transformer is continuing to be installed. They're putting in the foundation for the separating wall between the second and third transformer. Also some of the grates for the catch basin. And with this great view, you can see what to expect with the new separating wall from the one that they just erected between the first and second transformers. And of course, a view across the underground vault and the control trailers that are here on the south side. Did notice for the first time, this connecting tunnel has now got the covers installed, and that is a big development. It's happened within the last 48 hours. As we look past the second megapack and some of the conduit that's being installed at the bottom of the screen, we get into where these materials are. The white wrapped items are heating and ventilation systems that will be installed on the roof of Cortex 2. The smaller bundles are the false floor for the data center inside the facility. And I'm watching for those to be installed because once that happens, the cabinets for the computers can be installed. Here's some more of the shrouds pieces for the Cortex 2 cooling plant, and also some more of the drive units and other items for the fans that will be on top of that structure once it is completed. As we move back to the east and the south part of the Cortex 2 here at Giga-Texas, I wanted to show you this. This is more of the wastewater diversion that is being added in. It connects into Cortex 2 and it runs all along Robotic Avenue down to River Road and then across towards the southwest corner of the main facility where the caissons were put in and the work along the berm of the west side of the building. At the south side, we see this large excavation that may be for a water tank, and that gives you an idea where that's located next to all of the mega packs that have been installed. The Saren's crane is still down, which means that for a while, until we get all of the screw type piers in this location and all the platforms and some of the transformers and other equipment, it's not needed. But once that is ready, we'll start seeing many more of the mega packs being delivered. And what you can see at the top center of the screen will be replicated along this section that we are flying over right now. But this is a good view of the current situation of the construction that is going on here, and also kind of a good sense of just how many more mega packs are yet to be installed. On the north side of Cortex 2, more of the deliveries of pipes, manifolds, other equipment takes place, and looks like it's just sort of parking of contractor vehicles as well. As I bring the drone back up to the north, we see that water tank and some of the concrete vaults. Near there, we see these risers coming out of the ground of this kind of purple pipe, and underneath this area, we've seen a lot of trenching, pipe installation, vaults, and concrete pipes, especially where they are now filling in the trench work in the middle of the screen. Now coming into view is the second part of the cooling system. The concrete has been poured, the 6 segments have been made, and now we're waiting for the fiber reinforced polymer beams to arrive to start building the structure. Next to the 14 megapacks, we see part 1 of the cooling system. The 4 fans have been installed now. The 5th and 6th fan housings are nearly complete with the fiber reinforced panels plus some of the piping, and we should start seeing those fans being installed. On the bottom of the screen, there are now 17 of the cooling trailers for that temporary cooling system that will augment the Cortex 2 and allow it to come up online faster than waiting for the rest of the systems to be built. They are currently expecting to see the first operation of Cortex 2 sometime this spring, and the rest of it by early summer. So that is a good view of everything going on at Giga-Texas here on this Friday. I hope that you found the information helpful, and as always, thank you for watching. Take care.